one final time in 2024. It's time to go racing in GT America, powered by AWS, and the site for the season finale, the iconic Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Hello and welcome. My name is Ryan Marine. Calvin Fish joins me as ever, and down on the pit lane, that's where you'll find Amanda Busick, reporting on all the stories for us down amongst this fantastic grid of GT3, GT2, and GT4 cars. The GT4 Championship, Calvin, that's been done for quite a while. Isaac Sherman wrapped that up a few races ago, but it's still a three-way fight for the title in SRO 3.
It's been a fantastic battle. It's been simmering all season long. It's come to the boil now after what happened here 2 days ago. Any one of three drivers can claim this title. It's all out in this final race of the championship season, exactly how we would script it.
Justin Rothberg has the longest shot of the three that are title contenders, but he does start from pole. His championship protagonists, or antagonists, I suppose, would be Jason Daskalos, who starts in third, and Johnny O'Connell, who starts all the way back in sixth. There are a lot of different ways that this could play out here today, so bear with us. We're going to be punching the calculator buttons pretty furiously over the course of the next 40 minutes.
We will, and for Justin Rothberg, he needs to sweep the weekend and there's to see what happens behind him. Johnny O'Connell has some work to do. He did not put down a really fast lap that sets the grid for race 2 here this weekend in that first race. He did score big points and had a big point swing to Jason Daskalos. He now only sits 6 points back, but he starts from the third row of the grid with a lot of work to do. And typically that Audi doesn't come alive early, but it did 2 days ago. Let's see what happens this morning.
Might need to in order to make up the ground. These are short, sharp races. Not much time to get to the front. Johnny O'Connell knows what he needs to do, and that is to finish ahead of this guy, Jason Daskalos, who has been so strong all season long. It's been a Sisyphean task for him over the last few years. He keeps rolling that boulder up the hill only for it to roll back down. As far as a championship is concerned, he's been close before. This could be the breakthrough year.
Absolutely. He's had a fantastic season, and the car has been quick. Struggled a little bit the other day. They didn't have the car dialed in, even though you see him lining up third on the grid. As they sit on the grid right now, the championship would be his. But there's a lot of effort going to go into those other competitors to try and reverse that situation.
And then, of course, you have the venue. The famed Indianapolis Motor Speedway opened in 1909. The road course dates back to the year 2000. This is a special place, and winning here in and of itself is reason to show up and go for broke here this weekend. Well, we mentioned Amanda Busick is down in the pit lane. Let's check in with her now for late developing storylines.
Good morning, guys. Down here on pit lane for this final race of the season for GT America. It's a calm, still kind of a warm morning here. You can hear those engines firing on the G3 and GT4 machinery. I want to start with Johnny O'Connell. I asked him simply, why you today? He says, I know what I'm doing. I've been here before, but I will need a little luck on my side. Jason Daskalos, I just watched him get belted in one last time this season by Sheldon Miller. He said, I made some mistakes yesterday. I will not do that again today. We have been the car to beat all season long. I plan on doing that today. And then Justin Rothberg, who won that Pro-Am championship in Fanatec GT yesterday. It is an outside chance, Calvin, as you mentioned, but his dad said all he has to do is run his race and anything is possible. Justin, I saw some of his team members talking to Johnny O'Connell just prior to these guys getting in the race car, and Johnny said, that kid, he's special. I look forward to watching him in years forward.
I love the comment. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Raikkonen.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
Well, you had to wonder, though, where is Justin Rothberg's head after the elation of a championship at Fanatec GT just last night, coming second in the Pro-Am class, but scoring maximum points for the North American Championship and clinching the title, coming from 33 points back, let's not forget, after 8 hours of racing yesterday, and now he's got to put all that behind him and get down to work here today.
He does, and I think the first order of business on these formation laps is generating some tire temperatures. An early start here today, obviously the racetrack is relatively cold. You do not use tire warmers in this championship, so that's the first thing. I'm sure Robbie Foley, his teammate who won that championship last night, has been talking about that in terms of prepping, getting the tires ready. That first corner can be critical here.
Here's a look at the points coming into this season finale. All three of these drivers have a mathematical shot at the championship. That point situation will change as soon as the green flag comes out to reflect the running positions of these cars. But that said, Jason Daskalos nursing that advantage into this finale. He knows what he has to do. O'Connell is his closest rival, and the best news for Daskalos is the fact that O'Connell does start buried deep in this field.
It is, but Johnny O, he's got so much experience. He'd love to grab a championship, another championship that is, at this stage of his career. So he's going to fight, and typically he's really clean. I'm going to be really curious to see how Johnny attacks this race in the first few laps.
Everything to play for here in the season finale for GT America, powered by AWS in the final year of it in its current guise, with changes on the horizon. Justin Rothberg, one of those contenders. He'll start on pole. Kyle Washington had great pace in race 1 on Friday. He'll start in second. Then it's Jason Daskalos, the points leader, next to James Safronis, who is a former race winner earlier this season back in Road America. Keep an eye on that Audi. Mirko Schultes in the Callaway Corvette looked strong, especially in the early going of race number 1. And then there's Johnny O'Connell, the veteran, going for yet another title in this paddock. Jason Bell starts 7th, and Scott Dolehite in his debut weekend in GT America starts in the 8th position. Then we get to the lone GT2 car that's taking the start today. Dan Knox sitting this one out, so CJ Moses will race unopposed in his GT2 Audi. In GT4, Isaac Sherman, he's the champion-elect already. He won on Friday, looking to sweep the weekend and add to that impressive win tally. Gray Newell starts alongside. Demir Hott from Canada for Flying Lizard starts next to Nick Shanny, back in row number 7. The 8th row of the grid belongs to Alan Grossberg and Alan Teo in his debut weekend in the championship in that McLaren Artura GT4. And out back, Tim Savage, hoping he'll make the start here today. They've had an up-and-down weekend, switching from GT3 or SRO3 to GT4 due to a fire with their primary car. They rolled out the GT4 chassis that he used last season, and we'll see if he ends up taking the start here today or not.
Quick update, just got a note from the team. Alan Teo may not be seeing the start here with a gearbox issue since the race here on Friday. Which is a shame.
Yeah, I hate to see that. But that's the way it goes sometimes in motorsports. The lights off on the safety car. The field should be coming into alignment here shortly. Justin Rothberg, the Rova Pole Award winner, going for a title. Can he make it 2 for 2 in his debut season of GT3 racing? He already won the Fanatec GT Pro-Am Championship, trying to take a championship here in SRO3 and GT America as well, but he'll need some luck with the grid lining up the way that it is. He would not have enough points to get it done even with the race win, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. He's overcome big championship gaps already this weekend to take that Fanatec GT title. Rothberg in the BMW, entering the VP acceleration zone with Kyle Washington alongside. We wait for the acceleration and the green flag as the field one last time in 2024 takes the green flag. We're racing here at Indianapolis, and Rothberg with a great getaway. That means Daskalos and Washington are fighting for the second spot, and they make contact coming down the front straightaway into turn number 1. Washington comes out in front, and here comes O'Connell. He's already up to second.
Wow, what a moment.
And Daskalos goes around. Safronis gets into the back of the Mercedes.
No way. I cannot believe that has just happened. It was an amazing move there, Bill Johnny O, and Safronis just gets into the back of Daskalos on cold tires and turns him.
We'll see if we get a green flag here or not, or if it gets waved off. No, the green flag does come. There will be waved yellows down in turn 1 with Daskalos off into the tire barrier. Sherman with a great getaway. Hot racing Newell now for the second spot. Looks like Gray Newell very aggressive on the brakes as well.
Yellow was out there. I think Gray Newell saw that, and everyone seemed to arrest their speed, so the yellow was out before they got into turn 1.
Just a local yellow for the moment.
Daskalos is moving. How much damage to that Mercedes?
Well, this has him on the back foot. This should put O'Connell into championship winning position as they run. He's second on the road. Rothberg, the leader, would not have enough points to overcome his deficit.
Johnny will be getting this message as they run. Sitting in P2 is enough. He has a 14-point lead over... Excuse me, he has an 8-point lead over Rothberg. There's a 7-point swing, so it is just enough by a point. Here comes Daskalos. Looks like the car is up to speed.
If you're Nick Short and company on the radio with Jason, what are you telling him right here?
Just focus forward. I mean, they really needed the safety car out there to get the rest of the speed and maybe get a class split, get back onto the tail of that GT3 field. So it's going to be a tall order to catch that group.
As you forecasted, Calvin, as they run a single point separating Johnny O'Connell from Justin Rothberg, and Jason Daskalos just 8 points back, but so far back on the racetrack, separated from the rest of the cars in his class, he's going to have to fight through the GT4 field to even start to track down this SRO3 class.
I'm sure Johnny O'Connell has got the message in terms of the point scenario as they sit. He doesn't need to fight Rothberg for that victory. However, he can't afford to fall back into the clutches of Washington or Schultes, who's now up to P3. See Washington deep in there. Look at the hole open up for Johnny O'Connell. Fronas just rolls speed there. Washington was out in the gray there, couldn't get going off the corner. Look at O'Connell's move. That was beautifully judged.
Very uncharacteristic from Sofronis. He's a veteran. He's been in championship battles himself. I know he'll hate to have had an impact on somebody else's title. Drive-through penalty, that's not a surprise. Coming the way of Sofronis for that contact. Let's get more information from Amanda on Jason Daskalos.
Yeah, I just saw Nick Short by the wall to check on the damage of the Mercedes. Nick does believe that Jason's race car is okay, but said that Jason is so mad right now on that track. But guys, we have seen what he's been able to accomplish. You go back to one event ago in Barber, his back was against the wall, and we saw the results there. Jason Daskalos charging forward, starting right now.
Thanks, Amanda, but I think he's seeing his championship slip away. What he has fought so hard for over the past few seasons. He's come up short a number of times already in his career, and it really looked like this could be the year.
It certainly did. Just a devastating blow, and very uncharacteristic of James to make that sort of mistake. Just, you can't be so committed to the power like he was there with the field just shuffling itself through that turn one, turn two is so tight through there. There's Nick Short. Probably cannot believe what has happened within 30 seconds of the start of this motor race. Daskalos on the charge here, finally clearing through that GT4 field. Up front, Rothberg continues to lead. Look at Mirko Schultes having another strong run here. He could spoil the championship party for Johnny O'Connell if he can put the pressure on that Audi. Rothberg seems to be settling in nicely. It was a great start by our pole sitter. Hit his marks perfectly. But what a run for Johnny O'Connell from the third row on the grid to get up to P2 by the time they exited turn two.
You wondered how aggressive he would be, and he answered that in the affirmative. Very aggressive. That was unbelievably opportunistic, and it was a close run thing, but he pulled it off.
He did. I mean, I think Jason had to slow things down a little bit as Johnny sliced his way through that gap, and I think that just caught out Sofronis, but totally James' fault, unfortunately, and for Jason Daskalos, yeah, he's on the wrong side of that. Hard to believe. You would not have felt that would happen with the experience at the front end of this field.
Daskalos is clear of the GT4 traffic, has CJ Moses' GT2 car to get by, but you can see 47 seconds behind the race lead for Jason Daskalos, and he needs to finish ahead of O'Connell, who runs in second. Race Vision, powered by AWS. Look at the cars and which ones are fastest in each of the three sectors of this racetrack. The 14 of Sofronis fastest in Sector 1, and Mirko Schultes in the Callaway Corvette has the best times through sectors 2 and 3.
Schultes is flying here. He's got a big run on Johnny O'Connell as we focus back on Jason Daskalos hitting his marks. Sort of lap times he has. He's not running the lap times of the leaders right now, so I'm not sure how effective that race car is.
He'll continue to push, though. One safety car intervention could change this completely. Look at Schultes. Look how strong he looks at the moment. He's looking threatening from Johnny O'Connell's perspective, and that does matter. If Johnny loses that spot, that would make Rothberg the champion.
Absolutely. That would be a 3-point swing in terms of a deficit for Johnny O'Connell, and he has to hang tough here. If he beats Rothberg, obviously that's game over for the championship in Johnny O'Connell's favor. If he sits right behind him, he'll still sneak it by 1 point. Unless Daskalos, as you said, got a break with the full course yellow, who can catch this pack once again.
For Johnny O'Connell, so many years as a GM factory driver, so many years in a Corvette, and his fate now, in some respects, rests in a Corvette's hands.
Yeah, there's a certain irony there. Mirko's a racer. Yeah, he'll have respect here, but if he feels he can move another step on the podium or go chase down Rothberg for the lead, why not? This is Indy. He wants to kiss the brakes.
It's the brain trust for Ski Autosports and Johnny O'Connell. They'll be crunching the numbers, keeping Johnny up to date on the situation. There's Safronis serving that drive-through penalty. So that will promote Daskalos, I would assume, up another spot, but still not enough to change the points situation.
And we all know James so well. He'll be devastated himself that he was involved in that. You know, he's been in championship chases before. He was just out to have a good run and just misjudged that run through turn 2 there. But what a consequence it has on the championship.
1 spot gained for Jason Daskalos around Safronis down the front straightaway, but still a big hill to climb if he's going to get back into championship contention. Leaders now to the back of the GT4 class, making their way through Alan Grossberg and the number 102 McLaren. Top 3 all able to make that pass with relative ease.
Daskalos' car seems quick now. 126.0 compared to a 126.2 for our leader. Schultes and O'Connell run a mid-26s, so he's got pace. He just needs a helping hand with the full course yellow. There's no way he's going to drive up to that pack up front.
Daskalos around Safronis, it tightens things up. Now 6 points separating the top 3, but it would still be O'Connell's title as they run. As long as he can hang in this 2nd spot behind Rothberg, the job is done. Rothberg doing everything he can to stay in the hunt, starting on pole, controlling this race, but coming in with the deficit that he's facing, his fate not entirely in his own hands.
Yeah, if Rothberg continues to lead this race and win it, that means that Daskalos has got to get up to P4 in this race. So Kyle Washington is the focus, is the gap between Washington and Daskalos is what we really need to look at.
And those points calculations, that is taking into account, correct, that the 46 of Dollarhide is invisible for points?
Yeah. Yeah, he's got to get up to 4th.
Okay.
Which means he'd have to pass Dollarhide on the way, but that's inconsequential.
And that's because Dollarhide is making his season debut here this weekend in the final 2 races of the season. And those cars in that circumstance do not factor into the final points tabulations. Isaac Sherman does not need to think about points. This has been a relatively stress-free weekend for the champion-elect. He was able to clinch back at Barber Motorsports Park in the last round of the championship, so it turns into a bit of a joyride for him here in GT America. He's also racing in Pirelli GT4 America this weekend, and on our race vision powered by AWS, you can see he has a hefty margin over the rest of the GT4 field in terms of outright pace. 0.7 of a second clear of Gray Newell in this car for Heart of Racing.
Newell's had a really solid year here. Always knocking on the door of the podiums week in, week out. Running 2 different cars. They're running the newer Evo model of this Aston Martin in Pirelli GT4 competitions. There's some subtle differences when he jumped back into this GT America machine.
The team has talked openly about the plan to move Gray out of GT4 and into GT3 on a more regular basis next year. Excited to see what he can do in that transition. Some drivers, it just seems to unlock their potential as you go to more power, more tire, more downforce. Not much downforce relative to a GT3 car for these GT2 machines, but these GT2 cars are rocket ships in a straight line, and CJ Moses, great to have him back after running a partial schedule here this year busy guy with his work commitments, but also very passionate about his motorsport.
New fast lap here for Daskalos, so he's trying, he's pushing hard there. As you can see the number, 125.763 compared to the leaders who are running laps in the low 26s. In fact, O'Connell just ran a lap at 126.9, so Daskalos over a second faster, and that's got to make it even more frustrating for Nick Short to say, I got this car dialed in. We're going to have a great championship day here. But he's about 40 seconds back of Kyle Washington. There's no way he can make that up.
So, do you tell Jason you can't run them down on pure pace? Hold back, save some tires. If you do get a yellow, make sure you've got something to fight with. And we've got some lap traffic for the leaders to deal with, and that was close.
Really close.
Johnny O'Connell's championship flashed before his eyes in that moment.
He's had some moments this year. Remember, GT4 competition as well this year that's created issues for Johnny O and cost him some points.
But what do you think about the philosophy for CRP? Do you reel Daskalos back in, knowing that pace alone isn't going to make a difference? Make sure you preserve those Pirellis. Have something to fight if you can when the field gets reset, should we have a yellow.
Well, you know, you'd hate to do that, and if Kyle has a moment and loses a bundle of time and you could have been there. So no, I think he's just going to keep charging, hammer down all the way to the checkered flag and see how the chips fall. But Washington's got to keep the pace up a little bit here. I mean, he's losing about a second a lap. We're looking at the differential between Daskalos and Jason Bell, who's running in 5th, but it's 4th position by my calculations that Jason Daskalos would need to get to stop Rothberg from winning this title.
Stop Rothberg from winning, but O'Connell's the further point ahead right now, right? As they run. I'll let Calvin do some math here, just to make sure I understand this. But the pace is certainly there for Daskalos. He's pushing on, trying to recover. If you're just joining us, turn 1, lap 1. It was a frantic moment. Johnny O'Connell came from 6th on the grid up to 2nd in the first 2 corners. Jason Daskalos got caught out wide, collected from the rear by James Safronis, sent him off into the tire barrier. The car seems to be all right, but he's very much delayed. And the championship leader coming into this season finale now on the back foot. 3rd in points as they run.
Yeah, I think P4 is what he wants. He then beat Rothberg by a point, and he'd tie Johnny O and he has more wins. So P4 is what he needs. So Washington is his target.
All right. Not out of the realm of possibility with the lap times they are turning. O'Connell starting to push, though, and that could change the equation here, too. O'Connell has dropped Mirko Schultes and has run down Rothberg. That Audi traditionally gets stronger as the race goes along, and right now he's looking very threatening. Inside of 25 minutes to go in this season. Let's get some more from the pits now with Amanda.
Just to give a little context of how this may be weighing on James Safronis and GMG, they are pitted and pit in. Jason Daskalos is all the way pit out on the far side here on pit lane of Indianapolis Motor Speedway. One of the representatives for GMG, Tate Fredlow, just walked down to the team to apologize. Reading the body language, you know, still a lot of time to go in this race, but disappointment from the teams. Classy act, though, to show up for it.
Appreciate that, Amanda. And yes, I mean, the GMG guys, they're class acts. Safronis is a veteran. You don't see him make mistakes like that very regularly. And I know they'll be gutted to have impact in this championship.
Just looking at the math here with the amount of time left in this race, I think that Daskalos needs to be gaining about 2 seconds a lap on Washington, and right now he's gaining about a second and a bit, so I think he's a little bit shy. He either needs Washington to fall off the pace a little bit or find a little bit more. Is going to be awfully tough.
The safety car is definitely what the CRP racing team would love to see. Does Daskalos have enough raw pace, though, to dig deep and track down his target. He's got the GT2 car of CJ Moses ahead, and then a couple of cars to get through before the pass that would really matter starts to come into focus. That's Kyle Washington up in 4th place.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. Consistently the fastest driver on this racetrack. So fortunately that hit both from behind and nosing the car into the tire bundle doesn't seem to have affected the race car, but again, it's just so frustrating for this whole group to get this car. They had a problem getting it to turn. It was just understeering on him violently throughout the course of the practice days, and the car did not look happy in race 1 here. And that's why he got involved in a little bit of chaos there at the end of the race. But they've got it dialed in. They've done that before, turned the car around as he easily passes CJ. CJ gives him a wide berth there nicely. The car has come alive here on the final championship day, but again, it's all about the deficit back to Washington.
This season started all the way back in April in Sonoma. This championship battle has been brewing all year. This series has been as fun to monitor as any in the SRO America umbrella here this year. And in large part, it's because of this 3-way battle that has erupted between O'Connell and Daskalos, and then Rothberg with that late season charge to get up into contention right now as they run. Our understanding is he would be 1 point out of the title. O'Connell in position to steal it away from Daskalos here on the final weekend, but it's not done yet with just over half of this season finale left to run.
Sure, Johnny O'Connell has been thinking about the start of this race, knowing his grid spot. Since the checkered flag here on Friday, the car sat idle here yesterday with the Indianapolis 8-hour taking place. So lots of time to think over all of the various scenarios, but you know, your best laid plans, you never know how drivers are going to react down into turn 1, who's going to outbrake themselves, where the gaps may be. That's just racing instinct that put Johnny O'Connell into that position.
How about this guy, Justin Rothberg? Couple of years in Ferrari Challenge and then jumped straight into the deep end of GT3 racing, doing a double program, GT America and Fanatec GT. Already winning that Fanatec GT Pro-Am Championship just last night. What a drive it was from Rothberg and Robbie Foley, Patrick Gallagher, to score maximum points and steal the championship away from ST Racing in the season finale. And yes, ST Racing had some misfortune, but they still had to go out there and get those maximum points in order to steal the championship away, and that's exactly what they did.
Lots of rubber down after the 8-hour yesterday, Ryan, so grip should be good. Cool conditions, engines are performing nicely, lots of downforce.
Oh, Daskalos with his head down. His last few lap times, let's take a look. Running personal best. Well, he did, it was a while ago. Lots of traffic here for Daskalos to contend with. This is Nick Shanny. He's having a decent day, running just off the podium. 5 seconds back of Demir Hott for that final step of the podium here at Indy. Who gets through this traffic clean? Who avoids the potential pitfalls? That's quickly becoming the question. Washington still in that 4th position, turning some decent laps. It's going to be a race against time for Jason Daskalos as he tries to close in. then there's also the question, how much does Scott Dolehite fight? How much does Jason Bell fight? How much does that hold up Jason Daskalos in this recovery drive? This is his target, Kyle Washington. According to our math, if he can make a pass of this car, that would be enough to take the title back on countback. He would finish even on points, we believe, with Johnny O'Connell, but has the tiebreaker for most wins. That would be enough. He's caught Dolehite now, so he's making his way past Tamir Hott, not wanting to waste any time here. He's running some slower laps. He's been held up by traffic the last few laps. That has not helped Jason Daskalos' cause. Able to clear Tamir Hott, who's having a nice solid weekend on the podium on Friday in the first race of the season. And now putting together another podium run and watching one of the championship contenders in SRO 3 go by, running down Dolehite here in this Audi. This is a preview of things to come for Scott. Great to have the Dolehite name back in this paddock. And you were saying that it sounds like he's got his eyes on a full season program next year.
Yeah, he does. He's super excited about that. Great story with that race car as well. It was a barn find in New Braunfels, Texas, that they found this race car. Has a great history. Did some racing over in Europe, and it was purchased by a movie team for the Gran Turismo movies, and now they've found it. They had to go through it, as you can imagine. There's a lot of work to do to get that car in race-ready shape, but I think it's going to be a great platform for Scott to get back into the racing program. So he's been around our paddocks all the time, doing some amazing work with all of the SRO support staff here and the big team that they have, but nonetheless, he wants to be a racer, and he's a good one.
Early heads up there just to let Daskalos go. Does not want to have an impact on the championship. So Daskalos is through, but unfortunately that is not a position that's going to make a difference for points. That car is invisible from a points perspective as it's making its debut here in the final weekend of the season. Johnny O'Connell has dropped off of Rothberg in recent laps. Rothberg's last lap was his fastest, so the gap now is 2.2 seconds. What are you hearing, though, Amanda, about Johnny O'Connell?
Hey, Ryan, yeah, with just under 16 minutes left in this race, and looking at both of these teams, both Jason Daskalos and Johnny O'Connell are pitted right next to each other. You can feel the body really radiating for both teams, the anxiety that is in Ski Autosports. But talking with the team, Johnny's happy with the car, happy with the lap times, but they simply said a full course yellow here would kill us.
It would be bad news for Ski Autosports. It would be life-giving sucker for Jason Daskalos and CRP Racing as they try to keep this championship hope alive. Came into the weekend with the lead after that brilliant weekend at Barber.
And I think the thing for Johnny O'Connell that the team needs to relate to him, based on our understanding, that if Daskalos gets to P4, then he would win the championship in a tiebreak. So, you know, as they run with cars still running, that's all good. So for Johnny O, sitting as they sit, championship is his. We don't believe there's enough time on the board if Washington continues to maintain the pace that he's got, that Daskalos could win. But if you absolutely want to win this championship and know for certain you've got it, if he passed Rothberg, there's nothing anyone could do at that point.
Daskalos is roughly 30 seconds back from Kyle Washington right now, and the lap times are very similar. A couple tenths in favor of Daskalos, but the math just doesn't check out for Jason as he tries to erase that gap.
Yeah, you're looking at about 10 more laps, so, you know, if he's 30 seconds back, that's 3 seconds a lap, and he's just not making it happen. And Washington's doing a good job. He's had good pace here all weekend.
Pace good enough to start on the outside of the front row for today's race. Here's Rosella from Ski Autosport with the stopwatch in hand, tracking that gap to keep Johnny O'Connell updated on the situation. This team, over the past few years, they've had Johnny in the car, they've had Andy Pilgrim in the car, they've run older spec GT3 machines, which are allowed to do, like this Callaway Corvette in GT America. But this year they made the investment to go with this updated Evo spec Audi, and the results have been there all year long. The reliability has been there all year long, and the experience of Johnny O'Connell, knowing when he needs to go, when he needs to be circumspect, that's put them in this position. He knew he had to go this morning, and he did on lap 1, and now he's settled in second place, which would be a championship-winning position as they run.
The other thing is they've turned that car around in terms of the energy, developing the energy in the tire early in the race. Because on Friday he had it, today he had it with those moves that he made in turns 1 and 2. He couldn't have done that at Barber. He really struggled to get any tire temperature in that race car at that circuit. So hats off to the whole team there, Rosella Manfrenato and the whole engineering group there, to get this Audi to work and make it work immediately once we got the drop of the green.
Especially impressive when you consider the cool temperatures here this morning, just over 60 degrees Fahrenheit when we got started. But that Audi was ready to go, as was the man behind the wheel, Johnny O'Connell, a multi-time champion in Rally World Challenge competition, looking to add another title to the resume. He's well on his way with 12 minutes on the clock. Forget Justin Rothberg and the drive he's had. He knew he had to go out and effectively sweep the weekend to even have a shot at it, and that's what he's about to do. He's ultimately going to, as they run, come up just a little bit short, but what a season for Rothberg, and the future is so, so bright for this young man.
It really is. They knew what they had to do last night in the 8-hour race, went out and did it, just got their head down and executed, let the chips fall. They fell their way. Today they're doing everything they can do. He's now extended that lead on O'Connell. He looks comfortable out front. It's all about Daskalos.
Back down to the pits in Amanda.
Hey Ryan, yeah, I'm standing in Gasoline Alley right now. Tate Fredlow just went behind me. James Safronis has exited this race, and talking to the team, they said he is just simply beside himself of what happened at the start of this race.
Yeah, not a surprise. That is so out of character for James to have a miscue like that. He knows what it's like to be in the middle of a championship fight. Just can't imagine the emotion knowing he's had a part to play in how this season will ultimately resolve itself.
Well, I think the racer's head was on, which I get. And then on reflection, you think, oh no, I just ruined someone's championship. And you would have to think that you're coming into this race day knowing the scenarios out there, how tight it is. You know, who's in the game. There are 3 cars in with a shot of this title, and you think, okay, I want to go out and win this race here today, kiss the yard of bricks, but I can't afford to get too aggressive, and that's exactly what happened there within seconds of the start of this motor race.
Races are very rarely won or lost in turn 1 of lap 1. Championships even more rarely so, but I think it's safe to say that's the way it's played out here today. A look back at the start. Keep an eye on O'Connell going to second, and then the blue Audi of Safronis into the back of the Daskalos Mercedes. That was the championship leader coming in, and on this moment, the entire season has turned.
You can see there, Washington A on the inside, and then Daskalos just had to wait. Washington scrambling for grip. He took it in there so deep, did a really nice job just to hang on to it, but he's in the dust. And when O'Connell slices through around the outside of Washington, Daskalos had nowhere to go. Couldn't get to power. James was just rolling speed through the corner.
It's not just about that contact with Daskalos, though, in terms of setting O'Connell up for a title. He had to make those moves. He started back in 6th. He had to get up to 2nd to even have a shot at this, to take advantage of Daskalos' misfortune. Jason continues to push, but he's got 40 seconds to overcome relative to Kyle Washington. He's running 126 8s and 9s. Washington at a 127.1, so just a few tenths between the two of them. At this pace, it's not enough, and now Cal, with only 8 minutes and 40-some seconds left on the clock, even a safety car might not be enough. It might chew away too much time.
Yeah, he's not going to get to Jason Bell. Jason Bell's done a really nice job here this weekend, working with the new Aston Martin Racing engineer, which he's pretty excited about and looking forward to walking away from this championship season, having learned a lot, and coming back next year. So it looks like Daskalos is going to be 2 positions shy of where he needed to be in this motor race to sneak it in that tiebreaker situation.
You can see Daskalos, he's reeling in Jason Bell, but has a long way to go to get there. This is Jason Bell. Big step for him. He's a multi-time GT4 champion here in GT America. Elected to go GT3 racing in the SRO3 class here this season. It's been a learning year, I think it's safe to say. But he'll go into the offseason armed with a season's worth of experience. He'll know what he needs to work on, what he needs to focus on. He's got great people in his camp to help him along. And I'm curious to see what 2025 has in store for this talented driver who mastered his craft over a number of years at the GT4 level and now makes that transition up to GT3.
Yeah, he loves his racing. And I know he's been a bit frustrated at the rate of progress this year, but he's getting there. He's done a really nice job here this weekend, revamping the team chemistry and setup a little bit moving forward. And some big news on the personal front, of course. A new baby girl for he and his wife, Danielle. September 16th, Louisa was born, so he's got that to look forward to at the end of the race weekend, getting home.
Race Vision powered by AWS, best laps of the race. This is salt in the wound, isn't it, for Jason Daskalos and CRP Racing? They have the pace in this race car. He has the fastest lap of the race. This was a car that could have not just won this race, but won the championship, and instead, through no fault of his own, he finds himself mired back in 6th and out, not just of the lead, but I think he would finish 3rd in points as they run.
Connell, what is he thinking? Just knocking down these laps. Not much time left in this race. As we sit, we are going to be champions. Rothberg's asking questions, I'm sure, as well. They're saying there's nothing you can do. You can only win this motor race. Came in at this event 8 points behind Johnny O'Connell. He'll get a 7-point swing. He'll be 1 point shy of O'Connell's total.
To the final 6 minutes of the season. And what a year it has been. So many ups and downs. We focused in on this SRO3 battle. Isaac Sherman, as he's done all season, has run away to hide. Massive lead over Gray Newell in that GT4 class, just under 10 seconds. Looks like he's just nursing that gap, managing it over the final half of this race. Nervous faces down in the pit lane from the Ski Autosport team. They know they're on the cusp of something very, very special.
Yeah, it's a really cool story. Yeah, for Johnny O. You know, we had Memo Gidley last year. That was a wonderful story with his comeback from injuries earlier in his career to win this championship title. Had some great battles that year, and you know, this has been one of my most fun championships to call this year. I mean, we've had some sensational racing. Great to see the young talents like Rothberg develop, and Johnny O'Connell and the likes putting on great performances.
It's a fascinating mix, isn't it? Because you have drivers at the very beginning of their careers like a Justin Rothberg, and they get to test themselves and to learn racing with veterans that are seeing their careers start to wind down. Memo Gidley, like last year you mentioned, and Johnny O'Connell.
Washington, we talked about him dropping his pace. It looks like he's keeping the hammer down. He wants to stand on the podium here in the final race of the championship season. Closing in on Daskalos. Carl's done a really nice job here today.
He has indeed. He's got Schultes in the crosshairs. Oh, he runs a little wide though. He's still pushing.
When we saw that replay and saw him dive deep down into turn 1 at the initial start and got out wide, his hands were really fast on the steering wheel. He did a great job of keeping that car together. He's got some great car control. He's a brave boy as well. He's not afraid to get his elbows out and have a fight.
comes from a trophy truck background.
Oh, he's in deep into the ABS.
Yep.
Felt it immediately. You can see how he kind of angled in. As soon as you feel that ABS kicking in, you kind of dive for the apex. You can sense it. He can smell that podium right in front of him. He's digging deep. This is where the subtlety comes in. Just that striking that balance by not stepping over the edge too much of the tire's performance late in the day.
Kyle has really rounded out the edges of his game this year. Shaved off the rough parts. He has come a long, long way. This is interesting. This is James Sofronis talking to Nick Short. Nick, car owner for Jason Daskalos. Sofronis, of course, the one who made the contact there. Classy move by James to go down and at least make the gesture. Not sure how well received it's going to be. Emotions still being high as they are. But it is the proper thing to do. And James, ever the sportsman, there to offer an explanation and an apology. A couple of minutes to go. Justin Rothberg still leads. Johnny O'Connell in second. This is CJ Moses in the only GT2 car in the field today.
Great to see him back here.
Yeah.
GT2 cars are spectacular machines. Really hustle down the straightaway, have nowhere near the downforce of a GT3 car, so the braking zones and the corners, the SRO 3 cars are going to be a little bit quicker.
One last time this season, let's go down to the pits and Amanda.
Yeah, standing next to James Sofronis, who said he absolutely wanted to add into this broadcast, James.
You know, I'm absolutely mortified. I've been racing for 30 plus years. And I've only turned one car around like that in 400 races. And so I came over the pits for Daskalos. I apologize profusely. That's not how I drive. He knows that. And I don't know what happened because the contact was so hard that either something happened with my car or maybe he was checking up where I didn't expect him to. But I'm kind of mortified. Like, I'm beside myself, upset. And I would hate to cause the championship like that. And, you know, Jason's a friend, a fellow racer. He deserves a championship. And for it to end like this is going to hurt me, but probably not as much as it's going to hurt him. But I don't drive like that. I don't teach my son to drive like that. I don't preach it at all with my clients. So I'm just really upset because it shouldn't happen that way. And Jason deserves better. So.
Now that conversation's still ongoing, but you can hear the frustration and the disappointment in James Sofronis' voice. The white flag is out, one last lap to go. It does not take away in any way from the season that Johnny O'Connell and Ski Autosport has had. They certainly have earned this. They won races on a number of occasions this year. They've been on the podium almost without fail. Only 2 finishes outside of the top 3 all season long, and it looks to be enough by a single point to take home this coveted SRO 3 championship. Justin Rothberg, he won himself a title yesterday in Fanatec GT World Challenge America. He's a Pro-Am champion there. He knew he had to do something special to be in the hunt here today in the season finale, and he's done everything he could. 2 poles, 2 race wins for Justin Rothberg and Turner Motorsport. He'll see the checkered flag first at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but out of the final corner, Johnny O'Connell, a 4-time World Challenge champion, adds GT America champion to the resume. Ski Autosports, Audi, and Johnny O'Connell get it done on the final weekend of the season.
Wow.
By 1 point.
Congrats to the whole group. Kent and Melissa Hussey are going to be ecstatic with this one.
And for Jason Daskalos, who's been racing all year with a heavy heart, his crew chief, Sheldon Miller, battling cancer very publicly. This team has rallied around Sheldon, and they've put together a remarkable year, and it comes up just a little bit short at the final time of asking here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Jason Daskalos, despite a valiant drive, will have to settle for 6th and third in the final standings. GT4 winner once again, it's your champion-elect Isaac Sherman, completing a nearly perfect debut season. As strong of a debut season as you have ever seen. And he wraps it up with yet another race win and does it here at hallowed ground at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
That was a crazy one. What a emotional day for so many.
Future is very bright for a couple of these young stars, Justin Rothberg and Isaac Sherman. Two names to keep an eye on for the foreseeable future, and they're in one camera shot. Two champions, O'Connell and Sherman. This has been their year in GT America. Provisional race results. Rothberg built an advantage of up to 8 seconds there at the final time of asking. Johnny O'Connell second in the race, but first in the season-long tally. Schultes will complete the podium with a strong run to third. CJ Moses, 8th overall. Good day for him, kept it clean, and will stand atop the podium. And Isaac Sherman fends off Gray Newell and Demir Hott, who finishes off his season with back-to-back podiums here at IMS. Sets the table nicely for 2025 for Demir and the Flying Lizard team, but it's Isaac Sherman's day and Isaac Sherman's year in 2024.
Love to see him get a shot in a GT3 car, because he looks like he's got some great racecraft and speed.
That he does. I know there's some plans afoot. He's testing out the waters this weekend in Pirelli GT4 America, driving with the impressive open-wheel standout Miles Rowe, who's had a really nice weekend in his debut sports car racing appearance. We'll see them a little later on this morning, 10:35 local time. Here come the race winners and the champions into Parc Fermé. There's Justin Rothberg. He did everything he could. A good weekend, yeah. I'd say that's an understatement there, Justin. A win and a championship, I should say, a championship in GT World Challenge America, and then a pair of wins in GT America, and second place in points finally. Let's take a look at those point standings here. This is the way it shook out at the end, just 4 points between the top three. O'Connell, Rothberg, Daskalos. That's the way the season wraps up in GT America, powered by AWS. Amanda is down in victory lane. Let's head there now.
And group hugs from the team to Justin Rothberg, officially your last race of the season in SRO America, and what a season it's been for you, Justin. I think you got out and set a championship and a race win. And you also asked me, did Johnny O'Connell win? He dubbed you the kid this season. What has it meant racing amongst these guys?
It's been amazing racing up against him. He's one of the most influential people in the sport, and I've learned so much just by trying to get by him or trying to keep him behind me. There's not a track that he hasn't been on where someone hasn't tried the move I tried on him, so he just has so much experience, and it's great to just try and get some of it from him.
Congratulations, Justin. We look forward to seeing you in 2025, and moving over to Isaac Sherman, who just made everyone say his name here this season. And Isaac, you rounded out with just another win. I am not surprised by seeing you right here for one final time. What will this season mean to you in your career?
Oh, this season means everything to me. I mean, I couldn't ask for a better season, a better team, Rotec Racing, Porsche helping. It's been an absolute dream, honestly. So thank you to everyone so much.
Congratulations. We look forward to seeing what happens for you too, Isaac. And CJ Moses back with us here this season, a friend of the paddock, a friend of SRO America, and GT2 machinery around IMS, but parking it right here. Why is this the best spot?
Well, winning is always better than losing. I've done enough of the losing that I enjoy winning once in a while. I don't get out to the track or out to enjoy this car enough, and no better place than to enjoy it the most here at Indy. GMG did a great job preparing the car. It had a little incident before it ever made it on the track. They got it fixed up, and we were able to go out there and put down some decent lap times. So really proud of the team, and great season.
Congratulations to CJ Moses, and I am going to go track down Johnny O'Connell. I got to pass the yard of bricks before I do that, and that is something that Johnny O'Connell will be happy to hear as he gets a big hug from Kent from Ski Motorsports. Johnny, I talked to you ahead of this race and I said, why you? And you say, I've been here before. Why you?
Well, it's not me, it's everybody at Ski Motorsports. How hard they work, the dedication. I mean, we're a show up and race team. And, you know, Rosella, Phil, Kent, Melissa, Alton, Will, Brian, the whole guys, man, it's always, you know, racing, the driver's just a quarterback. And so I kind of woke up this morning feeling a little bit like Tom Brady and Joe Montana. But, you know, great work by everybody, and it was bad luck for Jason. You know, he's such a great competitor, and, you know, we hopefully get to do it again next year. Really enjoy racing here. I'm 62 years old, got another championship. A lot of guys might retire then, but I ain't ready. So we're going to keep digging. And just thank you to all the fans out there, man, that have been following me, supporting me for so long. It's crazy, man. Thank you, God. I love this. So good. So thanks.
This is what you came back for.
Think about all the races he has won, all the championships he has won, and still this one matters that much to Johnny O'Connell. A look back on the final race of the season for GT America powered by AWS. This is really where the season turned, literally and figuratively. James Safronis into Jason Daskalos, taking the championship leader at the time to the back of the pack. Daskalos, try as he might, he didn't come back through the field, turned in the fastest lap of the race. Just did not have enough time or pace ultimately to run down the cars he needed to in order to get the title. Close moment here for Johnny O'Connell. His championship about went up in smoke there through the chicane as he went side by side with Tamir Hott, but he made it through, and he did enough to keep Justin Rothberg on his toes. Kyle Washington held that fourth spot. That's where Daskalos needed to get, but he couldn't do it. Not enough time in these short 40-minute races. Justin Rothberg closes out the season with a sweep of the weekend here at IMS, but the championship at SRO 3 goes to Johnny O'Connell, while Isaac Sherman caps off a championship-winning season with 2 wins at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So long for 2024.